Breaking news, Columbia Green Federal Credit Union just saved our member $105 a month on their car payment.
That's no surprise. CGFCU helps our members save thousands.
Wait, thousands?
Yep, we have fantastic rates and flexible terms.
We save our members by refinancing autos, boats, campers, and even credit cards.
Apply today, see how much you can save.
All right, welcome back to Hudson Valley 360's The Press Box, presented by Columbia Green Federal Credit Union. This week we have Columbia Green coach Brian Smith coming back here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Great to see you, Brian.
Thank you.
Well, you know, we want to thank you very much, first of all, for being here, but also for taking time out of your busy schedule, because a lot of people might not know that in addition to coaching the men's basketball team at Columbia Green Community College, you're also a teacher in the Catskill Central School District.
Yes, I've been a teacher for 15 years.
No question about it. Tell us a little bit about you and where you started out your coaching career and how you've progressed and what led you to Columbia Green.
Well, originally I started at Kabod Crane. I coached the boys modified basketball team. And then from there, I moved on to Catskill, where I was hired. There was a budget cut, so I moved over to Catskill. And I coached the girls JV team for 1 year, and then I took over the girls varsity team. We were pretty successful at that point.
I was going to say, you had some good success with the Cats.
Yeah, at one point, we were ranked in the top 4 for sectionals, and then we won our first sectional game, which no one thought we were going to do. So we did pretty well, and at one point we were ranked 11th in the state, so it was good.
Now, what brought you to the college game?
After a few years, I felt like I needed a change.
Sure.
I wanted something more challenging, so I had sent an email out to Gabe Domel, who was the women's basketball coach at Hudson Valley Community College, and then she had given me my start. And then from there, I coached underneath her for 1 season. She had moved on, and then I was contacted by Ken D'Agostino, who was the coach at that time for the men's, and I joined his staff.
And how many years were you with Ken?
2 years. We put together 2 20-plus win seasons. We went to regionals twice. And then after that, he made the jump to Ave Maria, which is in Florida. And obviously, with my career, I couldn't, make that move with my family. Sure. So I decided to stay back. During that summer, I had gotten a call from Walter Ricard. He had made a phone call to Ken asking what my intentions were. So I joined his staff, and the intention was me to take over at some point. So
now, this year is your 3rd year as head coach at Columbia Green.
Yes, my 3rd year. And as I was explaining before. It's more like my second year,
right?
Yeah, because
I inherited somebody else's team.
I inherited the team late in the season. Walter had left, so it was a good learning experience. The first year I didn't know much of the rules, but after that following year, we came in with a pretty successful team for the most part.
Now, speaking of last year's team, which you think of as actually your first with your players in place, very misleading record, 9-18 overall, but you're in just about 90% of your games. In fact, there were so many overtime games, I believe 6 overtime games and 7 or more where you lost by 5 or less, which has got to drive a coach crazy.
Oh, absolutely. 6 overtimes, 2 to nationally ranked teams,
right.
Herkimer, Mohawk Valley. The top 4 regional teams were Corning as well. So it was frustrating. It's a learning experience. My sophomores now, they're hopefully their leadership is going to push us through that. But to lose that many and that close, but I feel that as for our first year or maybe even second year, if you want to say it, I feel like we made that jump as a program. So.
Now this year, off to a pretty good start. Not as good as you would have hoped, but still 6 wins as we start the second semester. Certainly headed in the right direction. Yeah,
I think for the most part, the guys look at it as, we played some high-level competition. We played 3 national ranked teams. I never put like a soft schedule together. Sullivan was number 6. We lost them by 7, missed 10 free throws. We played Onondaga, who was number 3 in the country at one point, and we started the season off at Mohawk Valley Community College, and they're nationally ranked too as well. So, for us to come through those games and, have the schedule that we had with the results that we had, it's okay. But again, if you look at our record again, not only was it last year our overtimes, this year it's our free throws.
The free throws. What do you think it is? Because obviously you have some talented kids there that can shoot. So it's not like it's Brick City every time these kids get out on the court. But for some reason the free throw line has been the bugaboo this year. What do you attribute that to?
We've tried everything. I feel I think sometimes it's just a mental thing. We've tried multiple things where, we had guys clapping in their face, giving distractions. We've timed their shots. We've made them do it while they're exhausted. there's been a stretch where we played Ulster and we made 23 out of 27. I mean, but then we've lost 3 games by 5 points or less, and we missed double digit. I mean, we lost one game. Who did we lose to? I believe it was one game we lost. We missed 16 free throws. I mean, and that's
hard
just,
to win.
It's not going to get it done.
No.
You know?
Tell us about some of your players. So I know in community college, JUCO basketball, the faces, the names change, not only on a year-to-year basis, but sometimes from semester to semester. But tell us about some of the kids you have this year and what they bring to the table.
I mean, my freshmen, obviously, everybody's seen they're very talented.
Absolutely.
Very talented. I mean, they've come from programs that actually had a lot of established wins and so forth. I mean, Albany High, we had Ja'Cory Nixon. He's very athletic, freaky athletic. So, I mean, he never gets tired. His game, he could shoot the 3, he can attack the rim. I mean, obviously, we've seen Raekwon Bryant.
Another great athlete.
Yeah, exactly, could shoot the 3. He came from prep school in North Carolina, but he's originally from Newburgh, so we have that Newburgh connection.
Yes.
It's been helping us. And then, just coming up, we had Jamie Nurse and a few others. But, I mean, to stand out though amongst that group, it's definitely a good group, especially like Donovan Williams, too. He's had a couple phenomenal dunks the other day. I mean, he's getting there too as well. And then we have a kid from Ja Reese, who's from
Reese Ballard.
Yes, Ja Reese Ballard. He's from Grady High School. They're 9-1 right now. I just went down there. They want to send more guys up to us because they like what we're doing up here. But
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, we call him the microwave. He could put together points in a bunch in quick time as you've seen.
Also, like your senior backcourt, Matthew Smith and Jordan Wright, who just won his 2nd award of the season this past week.
Yes, I mean Jordan's been phenomenal. So is Matt. Matt had a limited role last year. We put him in for 3s and he would defend really well. But Jordan last year, I mean, he's had his ups and downs. But this year we gave him the keys to the team, and I mean he plays a lot of minutes. I mean, and he's doing really well leading the team. So.
Now, when it comes to recruiting for junior colleges, every school faces a major challenge with so many options out there. But for a smaller JUCO like Columbia Green, it's got to be especially tough for a coach because, number one, probably the biggest obstacle you have to overcome is the housing.
Exactly. I mean, that was the main priority the last 2 years that I've actually put together, and I've actually helped with the women's team as well. So, I mean, we've found a landlord that's actually helped us out. He's put together properties for us. So, I mean, we're very limited on space, so we got very, very selective. But I think it's been helping out, and it's been working out the situation. So, I mean, next year I think we're going to have to go with more guys. Obviously, that's what junior college does. They take a lot of guys. But it's not even junior college. It's Division III and so forth. Everybody's taking large numbers just because, people move around, people transfer and so forth. So you'll find that.
At first glance, you look at a roster and say, there's 18 kids. How can you have a roster with 18 kids? But as has been proven many times at all levels of the college game, I mean, kids do either drop off for whatever reason. Maybe they don't like it in a particular area. Maybe there's injuries or grades. So many different reasons why a kid will drop off. So you can definitely see why you want to build that added depth and have larger rosters.
And next year I'm definitely going to do so. I mean, I entrusted the fact that we could keep everybody, but we've had one transfer. We had Mike Henderson leave, obviously. But, I mean, next year I feel like everything's a trial and error here.
Yep.
And I feel like we're on the right path. So I think, maybe obviously next year we're going to have to take more numbers and just, see where it goes from there.
Now, I'm sorry, go ahead, Brian.
How is it to take like 7 guys? You go into a game, you only have 7 guys to play now. Second semester, last year the same thing. How is it to get those guys to really play for a full game and keep the intensity up? You run a very fast-paced offense. Is it hard to get those 5 to 7 guys ready for a game that can be you're playing against, say, 12 guys on the opposite side?
I mean, last year we had a situation. I mean, last year we ended up, I think, having a full roster at the second half, and then a couple things happened. But I mean, last year we had to play against Adirondack as a result of something that happened prior. And we had 5 guys.
Right.
We played 5 guys and won 79-77. So
I remember very well.
But that's why we bring in guys early. We have them conditioned. And, I mean, the pace of play that we've been doing, the guys actually like it. We've been going 9 deep, 8 deep all season. So the 7 are ready for the task.
Right.
Now, we know we've talked about the fact that you have 6 victories already as we begin the second semester of play this season. do you feel like you can still meet your goals? I mean, that you set at the beginning of the season, as far as maybe winning the conference or getting to the postseason. Do you feel that those are certainly within reach?
The race is so close right now. If you look at it, I mean, there's so many. We're tied within a number of teams. There's like a 4-way tie right now with us, and all it takes is 1 or 2 wins, and we're right into the 8th spot. If you look at the Region 3, directory, and if you look at that, I mean, it's very tight. I mean, tonight's going to be a test because it's Herkimer. Obviously, they're number 1 in the country for a reason. Matt Lee does a very good job. But I mean, the following week, the next 2 games, they're very winnable as well as today.
Now, I know as a coach, you look at the talent of these kids, but I know you're very close to some of these kids as well, and they're almost like your second family. Tell us about some of the success stories you've had while you've been coach. I know one in particular is Chris Kidd, who was one of my favorite interviews I've ever done. Yeah. And I've been doing this for a while, but he is really an inspiration and I think a shining example of what can be when you go to Columbia Green and what you can achieve.
Yeah, I mean, they are very close to me. I mean, obviously we have to have a close relationship because we, not taking 18, taking the closest. We spend a lot of time together. I bring the guys in, obviously, as I said, early August, and that's just the camaraderie thing. We try to do things like the other day. We just took them to laser tag. It was us against the girls, so it was a good time.
Who won?
Well, we're not going to say, but
okay.
I think it was a good. It's a good experience. I'd like to be able to bond with them just like anybody else. I think for me it's the teacher factor because I want them to become something. I brought them here not as just a me factor. I want them to become something to move on to the next level, and you'll see a lot of our guys do move on to the next level. So I mean that's important to me. I mean we just don't. I didn't become a teacher just to walk away from that.
It's more than just wins and losses. I mean, these kids are human beings, and you want to see them succeed.
No, absolutely. And I mean, there's a number of coaches interested in our players too, just because of that fact. Just because it's, they come in there, they're ready to work, but they're also more personable and coachable.
We talk about recruiting. How do you attract local kids to come to Columbia Green? Because so many times a kid will look at Columbia Green and say, well, I want to get out of town, or I want to go to a bigger school. I mean, what can you do to attract kids to come to Columbia Green?
Well, recently, I mean, there's been a bridge, I think, between Columbia Green and the local and the coaches too. So I've had an opportunity to actually work with the coaches, go out and train them or invite them into our school and work with them just so they could see this type of things that I've learned. Things we could share a lot of things, and I think just earning that trust, I think, and the guys actually buy into what we're doing because you could see like after we did with Hudson, Coach brought in, did a couple things, and we talked during text message and so forth. And I was just at Greenville the other day on Monday, working out with them on Martin Luther King Day early in the morning. So, the relationships I think are the most important thing, and then just giving me an opportunity to work with them. But I think as they understand it, having an opportunity to save money, stay close to their family, play in front of everybody, and then to play possibly more than one sport is a good thing.
Absolutely. Certainly doesn't hurt.
No.
Now you touched a bit on the Get Quick training. How did you get into that to begin with?
Originally, when I first got here, Ken's brother, Steve D'Agostino, Dags basketball is humongous out in Albany, and starting to become international as well. So I work with Steve a lot, and I fell in love with the fact of just trying to help kids develop. And 2, I thought it'd be a thing where after I develop them, they would come to me because we just had that trust factor. Right. So I started the business. It's starting to take off a little bit more. I'm starting to work with more varsity teams, but I help Steve as well. So I like the fact that it's an opportunity to get out, see people, and then help kids progress even as they're younger to help them build up their skill development. So it's kind of cool to watch them flourish.
How does it work? I mean, if somebody out there says, well, we'd like to take part in this, how do you go about doing that, and what does it entail?
Usually they'll contact me. They'll ask me, if they can work their son or daughter out. So when I do that, I just ask them, first of all, what are your intentions? What do you want to be? Because I'm not going to give them the false sense of who they're not. So I try to do it, and I've asked Jordan to actually help me because sometimes in the game of basketball, it's Jordan Hoos. Sometimes in the game of basketball, you have to be more dynamic. You have to be able to handle the ball, be able to attack. The game's changed so much. So and just Steve in general, just with Dags, just learning the European style of basketball, it's kind of helped us too. So we're very hard to guard. That's why you'll see a lot of teams play a zone.
Now, who are some of your clients, some teams that you've worked with, high school ones?
I've worked with, obviously, Shalmon. I worked with them all summer for 2 months. I've worked with Albany High. I've worked, obviously, had Hudson in a couple weeks ago or a month ago with Jordan, and then obviously Greenville are amongst those. I've worked at Catskill Girls whole entire program actually. Chris Quinn's actually entrusted me to come in. We've gone down to for Dags basketball. I've helped out Shaker. We've been down to the Sawyers. We've helped them out, but we didn't get a chance to see Dior. But I wish. But yeah,
great Dior
it was
Johnson.
great. Yeah. But we've been all over the place. I mean, I've been lucky enough. Gone up to Boston Spa with Dags too. So just between myself and him, I've had a great opportunity, great experience.
Did you get a lot of chance to see high school kids playing? I mean, in different various games. Do you get a chance to get out and see? I know you're busy again.
Yeah, now I'm starting to. I went down to Grady. I watched a tournament. I watched Our Saviors Lutheran. I watched a couple other teams. They're very, very, very talented. I'm going to get out more now, more so now that we have a little break in between games and stuff, and then the showcases as well. But I've had a great opportunity to see people over the summer, just kids getting into the gym with Dags too. So,
no question. Tell us your thoughts on the local high school scene. I know, again, as you just mentioned, you don't get a chance maybe as much as you'd like to get out and see, but maybe some of the teams that you've worked with, Hudson and Greenville, but your thoughts on the local basketball scene, high school-wise.
To watch the Catskill against Hudson game at Catskill was fun to watch. It was fun to watch. It was two different types of paces. It was one where you had bigs where you could pound the ball inside, and then you had just the fast pace where I told you about small ball. Everybody's trying to play. You're trying to beat the bigs on the floor. So that was exciting. I know Dane and I were talking. He loves the three. So I mean, everybody's going with the Scotia model. The three is worth more than two. So
absolutely.
I mean, everybody's trying to get up 30+ threes. So I mean, the game is changing. So I'm looking forward to possibly catching a game there. And then Shelmont, my son goes to Shelmont and goes to their youth basketball program with Greg on Saturdays. So I've got a chance to go and see them in action too. It's fun. They're big. They're long.
I would say it's hard to call them a dark horse, because I tell everybody that's the dark horse. And when it comes to sectionals, Section 2 Class B is always so tough, and this year will be no exception. But Shelmont seemed to be kind of lurking in the weeds, a few weeks back, but they are really coming on. They just had a big win over Waterville Lead, which is another one of the favorites to win Class B this year. Tell us a little bit about Shelmont. What makes them so good? Because they're really starting to catch people's attention now.
He loves the three as well. I mean, we talked about it.
Right.
He's the one that put me onto the up-tempo pace. So, I mean, I kind of installed, we run the same offense on one hand, but on the other side, like the transition game, I mean, he's definitely changed my style. My style. Kids want to play. We want to get more guys into the game. So, I mean, that's what he does. He plays at a very fast pace. He loves the three, but he's loaded with, individual ISOs. I mean, he could use Shane Odell, who's a point guard, who he could go in and ISO in the post, or he could shoot the three. And he's crafty off the bounce, and then he can also use Jesse, his brother, who can just post up, and he's very good with his footwork. And then he's got LJ, his
LJ Randall, right?
Yes, who he does a very good job. But he's got shooters too, so they play hard out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, B is loaded. I mean, you got Shelmont, you got Hudson, you got
Hudson
Catskill.
plays hard, so does Catskill too.
McKeel, Waterville Lead. There's so many. You can just go on and on and on. I mean, there's 6 or 7 teams that you can just name drop, and they're all, definitely contenders. For
great part about
postseason
Catskill,
honors.
it's I've watched them grow as they're younger kids, and now they're so grown, and I don't see them between that gap between middle school and high school. And then I was training the girls team, and Justice Brantley would come in, and Youssef and Bill, Will Bartholomew and stuff. So it was exciting to watch and see how big they are and how talented they are. It was good.
Absolutely, definitely.
Hudson too.
Yep.
They're good.
No question about it. Now, I don't want to touch on a sore subject, but I got to bring it up. I know you're a big Syracuse fan.
Yeah.
Syracuse Orange. What's going on with the Orange? I mean, come on.
I mean, they're only 6 deep. They're I mean, they only go 6 deep, as you could see. I mean, I think it's just tough. I mean, they had the double overtime loss the other day. I mean, you got to get over the hump. I mean, the stretch three, and I mean, they leave the middle wide open. So, I mean, that's tough. Once you let that ball get inside the middle, and and people collapse on you, then they got guys dumping underneath. So, everybody's starting to figure it out sometimes, but sometimes it's just a year.
ACC is ridiculous, though.
It is.
Top to bottom. There's obviously no tougher league in the country than that. So Syracuse might not even make the big dance and still have a really good record. So, and we talked about this before we started taping. I mean, when it comes to the big dance, would you rather go to the big dance, even if you know we're going to be one and done, or go to the NIT where you not only could win a few games but perhaps win the whole thing? As a coach, how would you look at it?
I think when you're a scholarship guy and you run a scholarship program, always the intention is to get to the NCAA,
Right.
to get to the big dance. I mean, you got guys that, you know, you put all your faith in, that work hard all year. I mean, that's the intention. I mean, it's always great to go to the NIT, but I mean, you're battling for that top spot, those bragging rights. And I mean, kids play 4 years if they get to those. You know, if they're not one and dones, but that's what they're shooting for. They want that title. And I mean, I've had an opportunity to go to U Albany this year, and sit with like
Great
Coach
program.
Brown, and you know, I was just picking his brain because he was at Sullivan prior to being there, and he and I were just talking, and you could just see like how infectious it is at their practice and how hard they work, and you know, it's a standard.
Another good shot for them to make the big dance.
Oh, they're doing well right now.
Definitely.
I mean, they even played against some tough Division I, high-level teams, not even mid-majors, and I mean, they're
They played
studs
against
out there.
Louisville this year, didn't they?
Yeah. That's right.
You know, it didn't turn out the way they wanted, but still, they gave.
They're
cards
holding their
everything,
own
you know. They absolutely are, no question about it. Definitely a great program. Will Brown's got going up there. But all right, Coach.
Now you're a three-sport guy, three-sport coach. You coached golf for a while over at Catskills as well, right?
Yeah, I coach golf. No 3 sports anymore. The third sport is being a dad.
Yeah.
there you go.
That's
The
tough.
best sport of all.
Yeah.
How do you find time, anyways, to do 3 sports in 1 year? It's quite a bit of an undertaking, especially when you're coaching, whether it's at Hudson Valley or Columbia Green, involved in their whole recruiting process, but also then going to the softball practice, coaching those guys.
Well, now I only coach 2. I only coach basketball, obviously, at the college level, but for golf, it's a quick season. You know, I mean, we start the middle of August, and then it's done by the end of September, unless we do well. You know, and then you go into October. So it's a lot of like balance.
Right.
It's a lot, and we're only limited to 8 contact hours for the NJCAA prior to the season started. So we're limited. So we'll go practice 2 days a week, and then the other time I just devote to the golf. But it's such a quick season that. It's tough.
Doesn't take too much away.
Speaking of the links, how's your game?
It's all right. It's getting there now. My little guy, he's got his own golf club, so we've been going. I was just talking to Kevin Smith, and he just told my son he could go. He'd come over to Thunderheart whenever he's ready. But that's what we do in the off season. We golf. We spend a lot of time together. So I mean, stay-at-home dad over the summer, so I spend all my time with my kids.
There you go.
So it's going to be a little taxing with doing both. So we'll see what happens.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Well, I appreciate you coming in, and good luck
Not
the
a
rest of the
problem.
season.
Hey, thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it.
I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Pleasure as always, Coach.
And we'll catch you next week on Hudson Valley 360's The Press Box.